Today, we are going to talk about how to write effective grant proposals. This is an important skill, especially for those actors who work in development, but also an important skill for anybody who works in the private and public sector. This is a skill that helps you to raise resources, both financial resources and non-financial resources. The main objective of this session is to present the 9 components of a grant proposal. The 9 basic components of a grant proposal are: number 1, the proposal summary; number 2, introduction of the institution; number 3, the problem statement or identification of the need; number 4, project objectives; number 5, project methods or design; number 6, project monitoring and evaluation; number 7, project management arrangements; number 8, sustainability; and number 9, the project budget. These are the 9 basic components of a grant proposal. The proposal summary may also be called an abstract. The introduction of the institution is where the institution articulates its track record and articulates its experience. The problem statement is where you identify the issue that you are responding to or the need that needs to be responded to. From that problem statement, you develop your objectives, the objectives of the specific proposal, both the overall objectives and the specific objectives. Then you come to the project methods or design. How are you going to achieve these objectives? What activities are you going to implement? Or how are you going to design your response to the issue? Then the monitoring and evaluation. How are you going to measure whether you are able to achieve these specific objectives? Then the project management arrangements. We are looking at issues about who is going to manage the various projects. What are the kind of competencies that you need? What are the different types of skills within the project team that will be useful to manage this grant proposal or to execute or implement this proposal? Then, of course, the sustainability. How are you going to sustain this project beyond the funding period? And then the project budget. How much will this project cost? So number 1, the proposal summary. Now, the proposal summary is basically the abstract, as I mentioned earlier. It's also known as the executive summary. It appears at the beginning, it's written last, and it's usually 1 page. It outlines the proposed project, it summarizes the key points, and communicates the specific objectives of the specific proposal. It also highlights the key outputs, the results, and the outcomes, and also highlights the target beneficiaries. So basically what the proposal summary does, it gives a snapshot of what the proposal is about. It basically shows the various ingredients that make up a specific proposal. So it enables the reader or the reviewer to get an idea of what the specific project is about and how that project is going to be implemented and measured. Number 2, the introduction of your organization. Now, this element is about the track record of your organization. This is the part where you document the experience of your organization. So you highlight on the specific projects that your organization has done. So this is pertinent data about your organization. The track record with agency or other donors, your mission, your goals, your success stories, or your impact stories. This is where you present information that is relevant to the agency or the donor that you are applying to. And this aspect of the proposal helps to establish your legitimacy and your credibility. This is a very important aspect of your proposal because it brings into sharp focus your track record and your capacity to deliver on the various aspects of the proposal. Number 3, the problem statement. Often it is said, if you don't have a problem, there's no need to develop a proposal. So what is the problem? This is the aspect where you identify what the issue is, what you are responding to within the proposal. It also helps you to identify the specific need. So what is this problem that this proposal is being developed to respond to? This is the problem statement. Now, the problem statement must be clear and unambiguous. It must be concise. It must be well-supported statement and must be addressed using data, research reports, needs assessments. Everything that you use to justify the problem must be based on evidence. It must be factual, and all those elements must be directly related to the problem. It is important that as you are developing a proposal, this aspect, you invest a lot of time to ensure that when you do articulate the problem, there is clarity and that it is clear to everyone and unambiguous to everyone that there is a specific problem that you are responding to. So the problem should be relevant to the funding agency. It should include beneficiaries, institutional commitments to the problem, and of course the counterfactual. What will happen without the funding support, and why it's important for someone to support your institution to respond to the problem. And of course, it should detail the specific manner through which the problems will be solved. So this is a very important aspect of a grant proposal, the problem statement, or the identification of a specific need. Number 4, project objectives, goals, and desired outcomes. So this is the area where we look at the various objectives, both the goal or overall objectives and the specific objectives. So what are the specific activities to be accomplished in order to achieve these objectives? Identify all objectives related to the overall goal. Discuss methods to be employed to achieve the overall goal or the overall objective. Consider measurable quantities and refer to the problem statement. That means your project objectives should align with your problem statement. You should use verifiable data. Be realistic. Stated objectives will be used to evaluate project. So in this section, you have a goal or overall objective, and then you have specific objectives that should be SMART. They should be specific, they should be measurable, they should be attainable, they should be realistic, and they should be within a time frame. And this is a very important element of major proposals. As you're developing your proposal, it is important for you to be clear about your overall objective, what that broad statement of what you're trying to achieve, and also be clear of your specific objectives, those elements that you draw down from that overall objective. And please remember that all these objectives should be SMART. They should be specific, they should be measurable, they should be attainable, they should be realistic, and they should be within a specific time frame. Number 5, the methods and design. Your action plan. So this is the part where you highlight the various activities or the methodology in which you're going to respond to the problem, how the project is expected to work, how the project will solve the stated problem. This is where you highlight your logical framework, your input, your output, your outcome, and your impact, right? So here we are looking at the various methods and the various ways in which you can design a project in order to respond to the specific objectives, which aligns directly with the statement of the problem. Number 6, your project management arrangements. So here we are looking at what kind of skills do we need within your specific team? Who are the team members that you will need to implement this specific project? How will this project be managed? Who will be responsible for what? So we are talking about issues of finance, procurement, M&E, outreach. Who will be in charge? So you are looking at how you're going to organize the implementation of this specific project. And it's important to have the right members of your team aligned to a specific project to make sure that they are able to implement that project effectively. Kindly take note that the team should also be diverse. The team should not only come from programs, but also finance and administration, M&E, and of course, communication. The quality of your project management team impacts the quality of the project itself in terms of implementation and sustainability. Number 7, monitoring and evaluation. So what measures are you putting in place as an institution to monitor the various aspects of the proposal, to monitor the various aspects of the project you are proposing, to evaluate the various aspects of the project? So what is the proposed evaluation criteria? Are you using a final product evaluation approach, or a final process evaluation, or an impact evaluation? Product evaluation addresses results attributed to the project. It addresses the extent to which the project satisfied its desired objectives. Process evaluation addresses how the project was conducted, consistency with the stated plan of action, effectiveness of the various activities within the plan. Impact evaluation addresses larger impact of the project in the lives of beneficiaries. Normally, projects alone cannot take credit for an impact. So there's a need for a counterfactual, a control group to assess to what extent your project made that specific impact on your target beneficiaries. So it's important at the beginning stages of your proposal to be clear on which monitoring and evaluation methodology you'll be using. Will you be using a product evaluation approach, a process evaluation approach, or an impact evaluation approach? Then there's the issue of risk. It's important to identify your risks and your assumptions. So what are those risks? What are those factors that can hinder your ability to implement your proposal? What are those external risk factors? They could be political, they could be economic, They could be social, they could be governance. It's important to identify the specific risks and also state the various assumptions on which your proposal is based. Number 8, sustainability. Here we are looking at the various aspects of sustaining all the elements of the project. So you need to ask yourself some critical questions. How will the project continue should the agency funding cease? How will project beneficiaries continue their lives and the changes that the project has brought? So issues of maintenance, procurement, services. So when we talk about sustainability, we're not only talking about survival of the project beyond the funding period, but also the survival of your institution to scale up the project. Number 9, the budget. And this is a very important aspect of the proposal. What are you budgeting for? What are the various elements you've identified in the activity that you need to budget? Have you budgeted for the income in terms of staff time? Have you also stated your institutional commitment, whether it's in terms of cash or kind? Do you have any other corporate partners that will also be part of this project? And also remember to include inflationary measures when your project is over a long period of time in an environment where the economy is quite unstable. You need to put in inflationary measures, percentage increases to respond to the percentage increases in the living standards. And then, of course, you have to justify all your expenses. Your budget should align with your specific activities, which should align with your objectives, which should also align with the statement of your problem, which then will respond to solving that particular issue. So it's important that you budget for what the project costs and not what you want your budget to be. Another important aspect of budgeting is that it should be consistent with the proposal narrative. Salaries must be consistent with your institutional policy. Equipment purchases should be the type allowed by the donor or the agency. If this is a situation where you have to get matching funds, this should be specified within the budget. And of course, it's always good to add an audit or a previous institutional assessment of your financial management and grant reporting processes of your organization to that budget to really make it a strong supporting document for the submission of the proposal. So let us go through the 9 basic components of a grant proposal again. Number 1, the proposal summary. Number 2, the introduction of the institution. Number 3, the problem statement. Number 4, the project objectives. Number 5, project methods or design. Number 6, project monitoring and evaluation. Number 7, project management arrangements. Number 8, sustainability. And number 9, the project budget. These are the 9 basic components of every grant proposal. But take note, every grant template has a different language it may use. They may ask for additional components, for example, risks and assumptions. But in every single grant proposal, these 9 elements is what you will see. And they are the most important elements of a grant proposal.